Hi, welcome to Mostly Yin with Casey. I'm Casey and this is May, and today we are continuing along our Yinneagram journey with the Enneagram Type 6s. I really enjoyed learning about the Type 6s. There were so many little things to Type 6s that I didn't know before, and I thought Type 6s were pretty cool in that there are all these variations within 6s that are so much more than you find with other Enneagram types. So I really enjoyed writing this practice for 6s, although I do have to admit that I struggled the most in trying to figure out what I could do that would be best serving for 6s. So because 6s are in the fear triad, type 5, 6, and 7, and also their passion is fear, I selected most of our postures going with the kidney meridian, as when that energy is out of balance, we tend to experience fear and anxiety. But I also selected quite a few balancing postures just at the beginning of practice because type 6s have a little bit of a struggle in trusting themselves and finding security within themselves. And I thought, well, when we do balance postures, that's really what we're doing, is we're trusting in just ourselves and just our body to hold these postures, but also maybe to place a foot down or a hand down when we need to. So I threw some of those in there. And then I also thought, well, but 6s also have a hard time trusting other people and being able to find the proper amount of security within others, which is, of course, necessary in our world. So because of this, I've also slipped in the metaphor of trusting others when we're going to trust the wall. So a lot of postures that I use today use a wall. So if you can position yourself near a wall, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. I also used a blanket and a bolster in this practice. Again, if you don't have them, you don't want to use them, you don't have to. These aren't postures where you'll have to. They just kind of feel nice to me. So if you're ready, if you've got what you'd like, then please meet me back here in a comfortable seat and let's jump right in.
Come to all fours. Ensure your knees are below your hips, shoulders over wrists. Spread your fingers wide. Push into the ground with your hands so you can feel a hollowing of your shoulders. Balancing postures require a sense of self-trust, that your body will adjust intuitively to keep you upright, and that you'll know when it's appropriate to maybe place a foot or hand down or make it more challenging. Consider this. Consider what it means to trust yourself. Engage your stomach muscles and lift your right arm straight in front of you, and then your left leg. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach up and around with your right hand and grab onto your left foot. You can grab the outside or the inside arch of your foot. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Place your right hand on the floor as if in table. Swivel your right foot off the mat, knees still bent, slightly in front of the hip. Bring your left toes out long behind you, touching them to the floor. Bring your left hand straight up and back behind you, allowing a forward arc in your spine. If you can, look up to the sky. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to table. then a plank. Swivel your heels to the right. Let your left arm go up straight. Ensure that you are lifting your hips. If this is not right for your body today, drop your knee as we did in Stargazer pose, but keep your body facing the wall opposite from you. If you'd like a bit more of a challenge, stack the feet. 4, 3, 2, 1. Put your left arm down and come to table. We're going to take that on the other side. Find a strong table. Lift your left arm and right foot for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Swivel your left arm up and catch your right foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your left arm go back to table. Swivel your left foot off the mat, knee still bent, slightly in front of the hip. Let your right toes touch down long behind you. Place your right arm up high and behind you, finding that arc in your back for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move to all fours, then plank. Swivel the heels to the left. Bring your right arm up. Left. Lift the hips. Take whatever leg modification feels right here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right hand down, knees down to table. Sit back into child's pose. Lift your torso up. Sit back onto your calves. You may like to place a blanket under your knees here. Sit on a block between your feet for some height, or a blanket between your bum and calves. We're going to move into toe squat, but know at any time you can come back to this pose, hero. Shift your torso forward so you can pop your heels up and are just on the shins, the ball mounds of the feet and the toes. Start by keeping hands on the floor. Sit back onto the heels and gauge how much weight goes to the feet. Remember, hero pose is available for you. You can also do reps of this if you would like. For instance, 20 seconds on the toes, 20 seconds off. You have the ability, the freedom, and the power to decide what is best for your body. The Enneagram is not static. You aren't just a 6 and that's it. Nuances to the Enneagram are wings, integration and disintegration points, instinctual variance, and whether you are in a healthy, average, or unhealthy place. An average 6 questions everything. They have difficulty trusting others and themselves. They have very specific feelings about authority. This is a fascinating part about 6s, is that they will either be loyally subservient or consistently opposed to authority. An average 6 will be very committed to their partner, friends, or organizations. An unhealthy 6 sees danger everywhere. They may develop traits bordering paranoia or full-blown paranoia. Completely leaning into not trusting themselves or others, they look for someone to make their decisions for them. They can fall deeply into passive aggressiveness. A healthy 6, on the other hand, has learned how to be trusting of the self and others. They are endearing, affectionate, responsible, trustworthy, and lovable. Healthy 6s tend to organize actions and thoughts around what is best for their community, for their loved ones, what is best for the common good. They are able to reach a level of belief in themselves that results in courage, leadership, self-expression, and positive thinking. If you've been in a toe squat, come down onto the tops of your feet. Bring your legs out in front of you, scooting the sits bones behind you for a forward tilt of the pelvis. Inhale, exhale, fold over. You may like to sit on a blanket for that forward tilt. Remember, in Yin Yoga, your back can be curved and nowhere near your legs. If the curvature in the spine does not feel good, simply sit up straight and hinge forward with a straight spine until you need to stop and hold there. Note that this posture is absolutely not about how far you can fold over. We're keeping our legs straight to stimulate the kidney meridian, which may mean we can't fold over as much as we could if it was just a forward fold. So if you can't fold to kiss your knee, that is not a problem here. The passion or sin or vice of a type 6 is fear. Ian Michael Crone states this so wonderfully in his book, The Road Back to You. Though we say fear is the sin toward which the 6 gravitates, what 6s actually experience is anxiety. Fear is what arises when you're in the presence of a clear and immediate source of danger. Anxiety, by contrast, is a vague, free-floating sense of apprehension that arises in response to an unknown or potential threat that may never materialize. If some people look through the world with rose-colored glasses, 6s look at it through anxiety-colored glasses. Their thought world is ever circulating around what could go wrong, how to keep things from going wrong, how to prepare for something going wrong. Even in good times, they are thinking what might go wrong to mess it up. If fear is one side of a 6, then the key to getting to the other side is discovering and living out of your true self. Who 6s need to learn to trust and love and rely on is themselves. Very little security can be found when you don't feel secure within yourself. Slowly lift your torso up. Lean back and rest on your palms. Take some wiper movements here, keeping your legs either bent or long, whichever your body is intuitively asking you to take. We'll be here for just a few breaths. Come to a seat, swinging your legs around and behind you to table, then all the way onto your stomach. Bring your elbows under your shoulders, then out an inch, palms flat on the floor. Imagine pushing away from the mat with your elbows and forearms. Keep moving your elbows forward if you're finding this to have too much sensation in the shoulders. You can keep your head in line with the spine or let the chin fall to the chest for a nice stretch in the back of your neck. Another option is to bring a block, Papa Bear size, between your elbows and rest your forehead down. Relax the glutes and legs here. In her book, The Enneagram, Helen Palmer writes, the habitual preoccupations of the sixes include procrastination of action, thinking replaces doing, issues with work and incompletion, amnesia with respect to success and pleasure, authority problems, either submitting to or rebelling against authority, suspiciousness of the motives of others, especially authorities, identification with underdog causes, loyalty and duty to the cause, to the underdog, and to the strong leader, fear of direct anger, attribution of own anger to others, skepticism and doubt, paying attention by scanning the environment to look for clues that might explain the inner sense of threat, an intuitive style that depends upon a powerful imagination and single-pointed action, both of which are natural to the fearful mind. Let the elbows wing out and rest your head on the back of your hands. Come up to a seat. Take the right leg out and to the right side. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. For this posture, you can decide which way you want your torso to turn. If you would like a side stretch, then reach your right hand out towards your foot, keeping the side body turned toward your leg. If you would like to target the hamstrings a bit more intentionally, inhale, turn toward your leg, exhale, fold over. Take a moment to consider what you would like to focus on today and if that works in your body. You have the knowledge to choose. Each Enneagram type corresponds directly with 3 other types: your wing and your integration and disintegration points. Your wing is individual, but your integration and disintegration points are fixed. A 6 goes to a type 9 in integration and a type 3 in disintegration. This means that when a type 6 is at their best, they will take on the best of the type 9 attributes. When a 6 is unhealthy, they take on unhealthy 3 attributes. The disintegrated 6 becomes a workaholic, looking for material success, or starts hoarding their resources. They may start to realize that the system they have put so much of their heart and mind into isn't actually what they thought it was. At this point, they will strive to at least make others believe everything is just great. At this stage of disintegration, author of Enneagram, Hannah Posh, says, "Whenever you see a rising percentage of these obnoxiously picture-perfect posts from your best bud 6, you can pretty much safely assume all is not well. This is a signature 3 behavior of misrepresentation of the self." In security, though, moving towards a type 9, the 6 experience equanimity, are less prone to work themselves up, are more light-hearted, flexible, and energetic. They have learned they can be trusted and trust their instincts. An integrated 6 is able to enjoy the present and to be present. They have allowed their anxiety to take the back seat and believe everything is going to be all right. Slowly bring your torso up. Use your hands as kickstands behind you. Stretch the legs out long and take those wiper movements again. Move the left leg over to the left. Bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Decide which way your torso will turn. Inhale, exhale, fold. Crone states that 6s make up half the world's population. That being said, 6s have the most variation within their own type than any other Enneagram type. Posh quotes Rizzo and Hudson as saying, "No matter what we say about 6s, the opposite is often always also true." There are two subtypes of the 6s I would like to introduce, as I think it's necessary for this extremely nuanced type: phobic and counterphobic. Phobic 6s are very loyal and have a strong sense of security in authority. They are generally rule followers and people pleasers. Authority is their source of security. Authority can be the government, police, military, the church, or any other institution or belief system. Counterphobic 6s also focus on authority, but because they are untrusting of it, they tend to not be compliant and agreeable. These 6s seek security by charging headfirst into the things that make them fearful instead of avoiding it. Their security comes from overcoming fears, not by avoiding it. Slowly bring your torso upright. Allow your body to dictate what you do now to find some comfortable counter movement. After having your head forward, you may choose to use your arms as kickstands and lean your head back, having bent or straight legs, making windshield wiper movements. It may feel good to sit back on your forearms and do a small back bend. Open your legs wide. Activate your feet here as if you were standing. Sit up straight and scoot your sits bones back a bit, looking for that forward tilt. You may want to bring a pillow or maybe even two to rest your torso on here. Fold over. There is no amount of propping too great here, so use what you need. You may choose to prop only your chest and let your head hang here, as we've done this shape multiple times now. If pillows aren't available, simply fold forward onto your palms, forearms, or the floor. It is important to note that typing children is widely frowned upon. Children are still growing into themselves, and they truly do not need additional voices telling them who they are. Here, I am going to talk about 6s as children for reflection purposes, not for typing children now. Many 6s report coming from families where someone they loved or a system they believed in turned out to not be trustworthy. They may have been raised in an unstable situation where they couldn't trust their environment. 6s, as children, were good followers and listeners. These were the kids who heard a rule and followed it. Loyal to a fault, 6s clung to their friends, perhaps even when it was past time to let go. They don't want the spotlight, but love to be involved with their peers in some way. All the types had a message they needed to hear as children and either never heard or never believed. 6's message was that their world is reliable and dependable, and that they are capable and able to deal with anxieties. Gently using your hands, bring your torso up. Go ahead and lay all the way back for a moment here, as we've done many forward folds. This helps us find a neutral spine. Flip over onto your stomach. Come to a table position. You may want to bring a low folded blanket here. Spread it out long under your knees, spilling off either side of the mat. Spread your knees wide, keeping your big toes together, or letting the shins run parallel to the sides of your mat. Rest on your elbows and forearms, or elbows splayed out to either side of the mat, head resting on the top of the hands. This is half frog pose. For full frog, move your shins parallel to the sides of your mat, feet splayed out, arches of the feet toward the floor. Start on the forearms. Then, if you have the space, move the chest to the floor, arms extended out. This pose can be a bit intense, so if you decide at any point you've held it long enough, simply move to half frog or a wide knee child's pose. Trust that your body will tell you what is right for you today. Be kind enough to yourself to listen. Each Enneagram type has 2 wing options that will further inform the personality. I discussed this in the introduction video if you need to learn more about wings. The 6-wing 5 are more cautious, introverted, serious, and intellectual than a 6-wing 7. They tend to seek security through authority. They are preoccupied with information, both to avoid hardships, but also established systems like science and mathematics. These folks have a greater need for alone time, and like the 5, tend to suffer from analysis paralysis. The 6-wing 7s are playful, funny, entertaining, carefree, and adventuresome. 6-wing 7s hold on to their family and friends and take their responsibilities and commitments with them very seriously. They are willing to sacrifice more of themselves than the 5-wing counterparts. They take adventures, but are prepared and have a backup plan. Bring your feet together. Use your hands to push away from the floor. One at a time, gently bring the knees in. Lay your torso over your thighs in child's pose. Come to a table. On an inhale, round the spine up. Exhale, droop the spine toward the floor, tucking the pelvis in. Do those a few times with your breath. Come to a seat. Release the legs straight in front of you. Bring the soles of your feet together. You may want to bring a blanket under your sits bones again here. Feel out where you want your feet to be, closer to the body or a bit further. Inhale, exhale, fold over. You can fold over any way your body allows today. Maybe you stay up on the palms, move to the forearms, or all the way to the floor. You can place a pillow between your feet and your torso to fold onto as well. Maybe you aren't a type 6, but you do love one. Understanding the Enneagram types can help us in an extraordinary way to love people for who they truly are in a way they will see and feel. It's so important to practice loving people as the individuals they are. We can't simply show someone love the way we want to receive it, as they might not interpret it as a loving gesture the same way we would. A few tips Abby Howe states on her YouTube channel for loving a 6 include: be a constant source of security. This means do what you say you are going to do. This reinforces trust. Help 6s be their own biggest fan. Remind them of times they were successful and strong. Remind them of times they went through something hard and either overcame it or made it through. Crone says 6s might be prone to asking a lot of questions like, do you still love me? Are you happy? Do you really want to be with me? Remind them that you love them and are there for them. Most importantly, when a 6 is anxious or catastrophizing, don't belittle or ignore their concerns. Have them walk you through what they are thinking. Say things like, you're right. That sounds bad. Then what would happen? They will either begin to see the irrationality of their anxiety, or that even if these things came to pass, they have the inner resources to get through it. Gently lift your torso up. Using your hands, close the legs. Lean back for our last set of wipers. Take a moment to notice how your body feels now. For the remainder of our postures, we're going to be at the wall. Bring your mat or blanket over to the wall so you have a bit of padding. Sit about a foot away from the wall. Lay onto your back while bringing the soles of your feet to the wall. Decide if you need to move to have your legs form a 90-degree angle to the wall. Take the right leg and place your foot on your thigh, just a bit higher than your knee. This is a figure 4. If you'd like to take this deeper, scoot all the way to the wall and straighten your leg. 6s think the antidote to fear is courage, but they can never seem to muster enough of the job. What they need to develop is faith. Faith asks 6s to believe and trust something or someone bigger than they are, who will always have their back, who will never leave them, but instead be there to support them in times of crisis, Crone states. It would bring the 6 so much peace to believe in something bigger than they are. Whatever a 6 believes in, they may enjoy grounding practices such as singing, meditating, or journaling. A practice that may be uncomfortable but beneficial for a 6 would be memorization of prayers, mantras, scripture, or quotes. This practice channels the anxiety of a 6, as well as makes comforting words available to come back to, no matter where they are or what situation they're in. Release your right leg to the wall and take this shape to the other side, placing the left foot on the right thigh. Then take either the figure 4 or swan variation. You may decide to take a different shape than you did with your right leg. The two sides of our bodies are not the same. Consider what shape this side of the body wants to take. Everyone needs to practice self-care. 6s need to, because I believe this is the space and time they will develop a love and trust for themselves. When 6s possess this, they move to health, understanding that security is not found in authority, relationships, or research, but first within themselves. Everything I have read for self-care for a 6 begins with sleep. Sleeplessness is a hotbed for anxiety. Make sure you are getting at least 8 hours of sleep. Sacrifice what you have to. It's important. Practice good sleep health, such as no caffeine or alcohol from the late afternoon on, no devices at least an hour before bed. Go to sleep and wake up at the same times, even on weekends. A suggestion I love from the book, Take Care of Your Type, is to evaluate your traditions and routines and ask yourself if you truly love each aspect. Allow yourself to cut the things you're only doing out of habit. Create a peaceful atmosphere personalized to you. This could mean your entire house, or maybe just a room, perhaps your car. Think of the 5 senses and try to bring in something for each one. It is important for 6s to keep track of their wins in life. A few years ago, I was going through a hard time, so I created the Wall of Victories. This is where I threw a post-it up anytime I did something I was proud of, no matter how small. Creating something like this allows the 6 to remember they are strong and there are good things in their life. Release the left leg. If it isn't there already, take the torso about a foot from the wall. Let the heels rest on the wall a second here. Bend the knees into the chest and roll to the right. Let the soles of the feet rest on the wall. You may need to move further away from the wall. let your left arm go long behind you for a gentle twist. If the neck allows, look to the left. No worries if looking up or to the right feels better today. You know what your body needs now. The Enneagram offers a guide to moving toward integration for each personality type. This path is different for each type, which is one of the reasons the Enneagram is so beautiful and individualized. 6s, on this path, you must learn to stop catastrophizing. I know that is way easier said than done. The first step, which is still a big one, is just recognizing when you are doing it. When you recognize this, think or even say aloud, stop. Look at the situation extremely logically, like you were reporting news, not being a fortune teller. What is actually happening? It may be beneficial to 6s to do some research into Buddhist philosophy that teaches our thoughts are neither good or bad. They just are, and we can choose to not engage every thought we have. The second point I wanted to highlight for transformation is to understand and sit with the idea that no matter what, you cannot be prepared for everything. Work to find peace in this. Free yourself of this belief and this striving. Try to allow other people in your life to prepare for some things. Trust them in this. Bring the left arm and legs to your chest, lying on your back. Rest the legs to the left. Drop the right arm out behind you and decide which direction to rest your head. I love to end these practices with some practical tips you can take off the mat and integrate into your life. One of the titles given to type 6s is the Devil's Advocate. When playing the Devil's Advocate by pointing out flaws to other people, make sure to also acknowledge good ideas or something positive about them. Limit your exposure to TV shows, movies, games, books, the news, or anything that stirs up anxiety. Critically, look at the social media you consume and check if it's poisoning to you. If so, you have the choice and the strength to leave it. It is really important for 6s to recognize the difference between anxiety and fear. Ask yourself, is this a clear and immediate danger? If not, it's anxiety, which must be approached differently. Find something funny. Type 6s are some of the funniest people on the Enneagram. Because of this, lean into humor around you. Look up some comedians and listen to them in the car or watch some on YouTube. Feed into that side of yourself. Bring your legs to the chest. Roll onto your back. I'm going to give you a few choices for Shavasana today. You may wish to continue at the wall, taking legs up the wall. If so, scoot the torso to the wall and let your legs go long, resting your heels on the wall. If you want to come to traditional Shavasana, make your way onto your back. It may feel good today to bring your feet wide, knees knocking in, as this releases the lower spine a bit more than lying flat on your back. Or you can straighten your legs. Whichever variation you take, just try to let everything go. Don't hold any part of the muscle in your legs. Just let them be heavy. Face your palms up, letting your fingers curl slightly inward. Move your shoulders up and down your back, making a lot of space in your chest. Listen to your body. Make any last adjustments and find stillness. Here are a few mantras for type 6s. It may be helpful to place them around your environment to read and reflect upon. I have listed them in the description so you can write them down later. I am safe. I trust myself. I trust others. I am secure with who I am. I release all anxiety. Slowly begin to bring movement back into the body. Wiggle the toes, wiggle your fingers, roll your wrists and your ankles. Bring your knees up and roll onto one side. With eyes still closed and the focus inward for just a few more moments, come to a seat. I hope you'll continue on this Yinneagram journey with me through all the types. I upload a new video every Tuesday. If you are not a 6, I hope that this practice will help you love the 6s in your life. If you are a 6, thank you for taking some time out to care for yourself. We need 6s to be at their best to spot what is unsafe and inefficient in our world. We need 6s to model and demonstrate what it looks like to take a bit longer formulating our plans and ideas. Please work towards health and leaving behind some anxiety, friends. It is possible. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Consciously recognize that your body is your home and you are safe. And anytime you need a reminder of that, close your eyes and inhale. Go ahead and flutter your eyelids open. Bring the hands to prayer at the heart or forehead. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and to that freedom for all. Namaste.